Hey guys, and welcome to the final part of the children's book series. Today we are going to be going over how to set up all the pages in InDesign, and I'm going to show you two different ways that you can go about it. One is a little bit more involved in the setup process, the other one is very much slap it together. We're going to go ahead and start off by just talking about what we have to work with. I'm going to go ahead and click into my pages here and show you guys that I am working with a template. Book Vault is the company that is printing the book, and that's where I got this template from. So once you specify, the size of your book and everything, you can download a template. And it comes with two pages, the rear facing and the front facing pages. In this first version of setting things up, I really just set everything to the document size. Now the finished size, that's what the printer is going to produce. What you have to provide the printer is the document size. So this is what I set everything up to. So you can see over here, I have it exactly at 9.53 by 9.53. So obviously I had this template in the beginning, and that allowed me to fit my illustrations within the margins and bleed and everything. And I'll admit, the first printing of Cinderbella, there is one mistake where the text is too close to the edge here, because I forgot about the safety margin and I put it a little too close, so it got really close to the edge there. Nothing got cut off, but to me it was uncomfortably close, and that is why it's important to pay attention to this when you're setting everything up. But we fixed that in the second printing. So yeah, let me go back to this page actually, because here we have the bleed and the safety margin. Now the bleed is this dark blue line around the edge, and that is the part that the printer is going to chop off when they get it down to size. And then the safety margin is, like I said, any text or important imagery needs to stay away from this area. One thing about working like this, just setting everything to the exact document size, is that you can't really preview the final cut size, because everything is just set up exactly to the edge. There's no way to really see the bleed that's going to be cut off, and that just annoys me. It's not something, I guess, necessary if your pages are set up correctly. I guess the only real way you could probably do that and actually see behind it is probably to lower the opacity, which to me is just annoying, and I don't want to have to do that when I'm trying to adjust the pages or see, okay, that's the bleed that's gonna get cut off. I like to see it actually removed from the document. So I'm gonna show you guys the alternate way of setting this up so you can actually preview it. And that's gonna look something kind of like this. And now you'll notice here in this preview, I'm showing you the book in spreads, but ultimately, this is how it gets sent to the printer. This is the printer's specifications. They want it in single pages, not spreads. So that's how it gets sent to the printer. And that's how we're going to set it up over here. So let's go ahead and jump into that. Okay, so to set this up so we can preview the bleed, we're going to do this in a slightly different way. Basically, we're going to start with the finished size, and then we're going to add in the measurements for the bleed and the safety margin separately, and that'll give us our document size. So kind of just doing it in reverse. So we're going to go to File, New Document. We're going to go to Inches, and we're going to start with the finished size, like I said. We're going to uncheck facing pages because, again, we don't want the spreads. I'm going to go ahead and put in 42 pages. That's the total page count. Now, I said in a previous video that I was working with 40 pages, and I forgot to add the extra page that was blank but with the barcode. So I'm doing that here just to demonstrate it. That extra sheet of 2 pages is just the blank and the barcode page. Now, you can ignore the gutter. This was not given to us. This isn't a measurement we need to worry about. The only thing we're going to do here is change the margins and the bleed. So the bleed is actually already set up to 1/8 of an inch. Now here, 3 millimeters, that's what it comes out in inches, 0.11. I rounded up and just made it the standard 1/8 of an inch bleed because that works too. Now the safety margin is a little different because we've got a larger margin on the binding edge. So when you set up those margins, basically we're going to start just by putting in the general margin, which is 0.2, and go ahead and just set that. Now because this is locked, it's going to change all of this to the same. You can even hover over it and see, make all settings the same. So I'm going to uncheck that because on the right side of the page, we need this to be a larger margin. We need it to be 0.67. Okay, and that should do it. We're going to go ahead and hit create. And there you have it, folks. So the issue with just leaving it like this is every single margin is on one side of the page. And that is incorrect. We need it to alternate every other page. Based on the template. As you know, you've got the front facing page and the rear facing page, so you can see the margin alternating back and forth. So to start things off, we're going to talk about the most essential thing about working in InDesign, and that is parent pages. I am from the era of InDesign when this was called a master page, and they changed it. So if I say master page, I'm talking about the parent pages, and that's what is up here in this little preview. So I'm going to go ahead and label this based on the template that we're using. So I'm going to label it as front facing page and rear facing page. Okay, now we have our front facing and our rear facing template. And that's how I want you to think about these parent pages. So we really only need to set up the margin for the front facing page because right now it's set up with the rear facing. Don't adjust it here. You're actually going to look down here to page, and it's already selected here, front facing page, rear facing page. So in that drop down you can find whatever page you need to edit and just hit edit page, and then click margins and columns, and this is where you're going to change this. So now we have the margin on this side. An annoying thing about this is the text frame, and it just for some reason will just have to be manually moved. Okay, so now that we have that set up, here comes the tedious part. And I say that because I have not found an easy way to distribute the parent pages in a way that alternates them. And if anyone knows another way to do this that is faster and more efficient, please leave a comment because I would love to know how to do this efficiently. Basically, I'm going to check facing pages to make it easier on myself, but we have to set up the rear facing page in our layout. All the rear facing pages need to be on the left side of the book and all the front facing on the right. So I'm just going to be dragging in the rear facing pages until I get to the end. Very tedious and annoying. It's a 42-page book. I can't imagine having to do this with a chapter book, so I'm sure there's an easier way to do this. I am just unaware of it. Like, I know you can come here and like literally say apply parent to pages, and like you're supposed to be able to select, but the only option I'm getting is all pages, and I don't want it to be on all of the pages, so I'm confused. Why is that my only option? So yeah. Okay, so now we have all the rear facing pages on the left and all the front facing pages on the right. And you can actually see that on the main view. I hate having to move these text boxes because I can't even select them all. I have to literally... Again, I'm not super concerned about these because I'm not going to use them, so maybe I should just delete them, but anyway, I won't go through all of that. This is what it should look like, but I'm going to uncheck facing pages again because that's not how it's going to be set up and sent to the printer. But there you have it. It should alternate the margins from front page and rear page, and so you can add that template to this parent page. I'm getting better at saying parent page. I'll go ahead and just drop it in here. So I'm placing, go ahead and click on the red line to actually line it up to the bleed and drag it all the way to the edge. And so now you can see all my lines, my margins pretty much line up exactly with the template. And you can do that for the other page. Okay, so going back to the full layout with all my illustrations where I set this up, I'll go ahead and click into my layout. So yeah, and then you can also just come here to view and change your screen mode, and you can go to preview and it'll actually just preview the final size, the finished size of your pages. And you can also view it with the bleed, so you see exactly what's getting cut off. Yeah, it's a lot more comfortable to work this way. So because this is a children's book, it's kind of hard for me to talk about setting up the text because honestly, I don't really know if there's a right or wrong way to do it, because most of the time you're dealing with 1 to 2 sentences per page. It's not a chapter book. There's not going to be paragraph after paragraph, but I'll demonstrate some things using, I guess, InDesign to its fullest ability, I guess, if you want to say it like that. Because you can basically set up like a main style of text to go across all of the book. This text box, when you click on it, this is what highlights. You have set up what is going to be the spacing, the font, the color, everything throughout your book. So double clicking gives you all the options of things you can change and adjust, and it gets really complex. But like I said, this is a children's book. 1 sentence per page. You don't really have to worry too much about this. Really, you can set up everything very basic with your size, your leading, which is the space between the sentences. And so that's what a paragraph style is. And you can actually set up different versions. So I have white text set up. I have centered text set up. However, this type of thing you don't have to set up as a paragraph style because it's just like one edit. Instead, you would ideally want to use like character style. And if I were to go to the white text that I have in the book, you can just set it up as main text character style, which I could have named it white. But I was trying to do this quickly to just demonstrate it for you guys. Or you can set up a full-on paragraph style for it. If I needed to basically change the font across the board, all of the text that are assigned to this specific style, I could just go here, change a random font, and it'll change it throughout your book. So you don't have to actually go in and click every text box and set up the font that you want to change it to. Just makes it quick and easy to do. And you can do like fun stuff like this using like the pen tool. It can be a bit uncomfortable to use this type of tool if you haven't dealt with like Adobe Illustrator before. I'm doing a really bad job of demonstrating this, but you would select the type on a path tool and just click onto the path and then just go to town. So the last thing I'm going to talk about with this is just a general export. You want to export it for print. PDF is what the standard is for printers, unless they tell you otherwise. Make sure it's all the pages that you are exporting and you're exporting them as pages. Like I said, we don't need spreads. One extra thing that I need you to remember is coming to crops and bleeds is that you want to check this box. And that's because, again, we're sending them a file that needs to be the document size that they specified. So it needs to include the bleed that they're going to cut off. And that's what this does. So once it's exported, if you hover over, this is in Adobe Acrobat, but you can see that the size is the document size. It should be 9.53, not 9.29, because you're including the bleed in the document because the printer needs that because they're going to chop off a portion of this. If you send them the file with the finished size instead, you're going to have a problem. Basically, you're going to be able to see white lines on all the sides. And the printer may warn you about this, and they also may not. They might just print what you give them. But yeah, that is everything you need to know, basically, for this particular project at least. And yeah, this is that extra blank page that would have the barcode. Alrighty, so this brings us to the end of the children's book series. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I have been so honored to have been a part of the project. I'm thankful to Jessica for picking me for the illustrations. So happy to have been able to do that for her, and that she allowed me to share this process here with you guys on my YouTube channel. And as always, if you or someone you know would be interested in having a copy of Cinderbella, I am linking the author's website in the description where you can pick up a copy. And I'm going to spend the rest of the video just showing you guys the process of the cover to sort of close everything out. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.